Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dig into a really powerful idea, unshakable hope. And we're looking at a source that ties this whole concept directly to the Christian idea of salvation.
So, the source material starts with something we can all relate to, right? Life is a roller coaster. It's full of disappointments, losses, and all kinds of uncertainty that can just knock the wind out of you. So it poses this huge question to get us started. Where does lasting hope really come from?
Okay, so let's jump right in. The text first puts its finger on what it sees as the main problem. The kind of hope most of us rely on is, well, it's fragile. It's a hope that totally depends on our circumstances being good, stable, and positive. But we all know that's just not how life works.
So as an alternative to that fragile hope, the text offers up a completely different idea. It introduces this core concept it calls a lively hope. And that word lively is so important here. It's meant to be something active, vibrant, and way more resilient.
Now, this whole idea is grounded in this specific verse from the Christian scriptures. The key phrase is being begotten unto a lively hope, and it connects it directly to the resurrection of Jesus. This frames hope not as something we have to work up on our own, but as something we actually receive.
The source is super specific about what this means. This is not just wishful thinking, not at all. It's a confident expectation. It's described as being literally alive, something that gets in there and completely transforms your perspective, giving you the energy you need to persevere.
And this comparison just lays it all out, doesn't it? The contrast is so stark. You've got worldly hope on one side, fragile, totally dependent on things going right, and easily shattered. And then you have this lively hope, which the source says is the exact opposite. It's unshakable because its foundation isn't your circumstances, but something that goes way beyond them.
Now, this all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like? Well, to make it less abstract, the source gives us a really powerful story from the Bible to show this lively hope in action.
The setup is pretty grim. The story goes that two early Christian leaders, Paul and Silas, are in about the worst situation you can imagine. They've been publicly beaten and then thrown into the deepest, most secure part of a prison, all because of their faith.
And this is where the story gets really wild. Instead of giving in to despair, which would be the natural reaction, they do something completely counterintuitive. They start singing praises to God. The text argues this was only possible because their hope wasn't tied to their immediate awful circumstances. It was rooted in their understanding of salvation. And the story ends with this dramatic climax. As they're singing, a violent earthquake hits, the prison doors fly open, and everyone's chains come loose. The source presents this miraculous escape, not as some random coincidence, but as a direct result of their hope being an incredible source of strength.
So that's a pretty intense example, for sure. But what about for the rest of us, just trying to get through our day-to-day lives? Well, the source material goes on to explore the practical effects this lively hope is supposed to have on just an ordinary person.
And this is where it all comes home. It's not just about surviving extreme situations. It's about how this kind of hope can transform your daily life. It's said to produce courage when you're afraid, to foster perseverance when you want to quit, and to create a spirit that's so resilient it can maintain joy despite your circumstances, not because of them. It basically shifts your entire focus to what the text calls eternal priorities. Now, the text doesn't just leave us with an explanation. It wraps up with a very direct, very personal invitation for anyone reading to actually apply these ideas to their own life. So it boils down to this two-step process. First, you do the internal work. Reflect on the challenges that have shaken you and consciously re-anchor your confidence. Then, you move to the external. You declare that your hope is secure, and then you start to live your life with the boldness and perseverance that supposedly comes from that foundation. And all this brings us to a final, pretty provocative thought. The source isn't just talking about simple optimism here. It's framing hope as an active, living force that can, paradoxically, find strength in hardship. It really makes you stop and think, how might this idea of a lively hope challenge or maybe even reshape our own understanding of what it really means to be resilient?
Hope in Christ is an unshakable anchor for the soul. Rooted in the resurrection, it brings strength in adversity and daily transformation.